Hello. So I am here to show you my 10 bird journals that are finally finished. I do want to tell you first of all a massive thank you. I just can't believe it, but I've reached 5,000 subscribers. It's truly amazing and slightly unbelievable when you think of how many people 5,000 are. That's huge. I'm so excited and a bit speechless. It only feels like 5 minutes ago I was posting my 3,000 subscriber giveaway, and it literally was not very long ago at all. Unfortunately, I am not in a position to do a giveaway right now, but there will be one coming up. I might do something quick and small in between. So I'm going to show you these journals. There's a bit of a story because this is the third time I've filmed this. I put all of the journals together so you could see what they would look like as a journal, because that's not how I am kind of delivering these. And it took me quite a long time to put the journals together. I then filmed it, looked at the clock and thought, wow, it's 40 minutes and my camera hasn't beeped yet. So I took a look at the camera and I hadn't even pressed record. So I spent 40 minutes just literally talking to myself. So I started again. This time I'd obviously already taken the journals all apart, because I took them apart during the first video I'll show you what I did with the stuff. And then the second time I recorded for 30 minutes and then realised the battery had died after 3 minutes. So I've wasted so much time this morning, and I won't waste any more of yours. I'm going to show you the journals. So there are two sizes. I have 6 in this size and 4 in this size. They will all be available on my Etsy store. Now, and I'm going to explain some generic things about these. So first of all, the covers are all made from the document wallet stroke envelopes that I picked up, and they are old. They are very sturdy, but they are old. So there are some kind of dented corners. Some of them have stickers on, which I have removed a couple, but not on these envelopes, but I've left them in place because they were part of the envelope. These have been used for many years in a filing cabinet. They were written on with photograph dates and trip memorabilia. All sorts of things were written on many of these envelopes. So that's the first thing. So the second thing is, these are all book page covers. I've used a book page for the covers. I varnished, they're all Tim Holtz paper on the back. They were given a coat of spray acrylic varnish. I then added the embellishments on this size and the name on the smaller size. They then had a second coat of varnish, and they all have a calico tea dyed cover over the spine. There wasn't a need for it, I just wanted to, because a couple of them had stickers over this section, and although I quite like these, there's a few dotted around the back covers, I didn't want it down the spine and on the front. So that's point number 2. So these ones are folded horizontally, these ones are folded vertically, and I absolutely love these. These ones do, the book page comes across to the back cover. So they're all named. Now, these were designed to be just writing journals. They had absolutely nothing in them. That was the plan. They were going to be for writing only. I couldn't put as many pages in as I wanted because I don't like it when books are, you can't write in them. So what I did do is I started making ephemera for the journals, So they weren't quite as simple and basic as I initially planned, and they've taken me a lot of time. I've never inked so much in my life. Now I'm going to show you one of each size. The only there's Tim Holtz pockets on the inside covers on all of them, and I will show you those. They all have one of these floating pocket collage tags that I made, and I did do a video of this, and again I didn't press record, so I couldn't put that up. They have a collage tag that's sewn. It's not backed because I really like these little panels that you could write little things in. Plus I did back one, not in this collection, I did back one and I didn't like the way the stitches kind of showed through that. So this is one. I will show you briefly the rest of them, but I'm not going to take them out. That is the only thing that is left in the journal. There's also a little dictionary definition here on Aviary, because the kit, my kit, is called Vintage Aviary, so I've just used that definition. So there is tea stain paper, vintage lined paper, vintage book pages. This comes from, it's kind of like a composition book. It's a notebook with a hard cover, but it's really old. There is one page in each that's from a tree book, and I thought that's where birds live. This is another vintage book. I'm going to do this really quickly because I've just talked for so long and got nowhere so far today. Each one of these has a Benningfield book page from Songbirds as an envelope in the centre. That's this one. They are all, obviously the book pages will differ, but they all have the same amount of pages and types of pages in them. So there's absolutely loads of writing room in these. So that is the journal, and they are all pretty similar. So this one is Abundance. This is obviously the tassel. They all have a tassel with the beads. This one's lots of oranges and greens to match the journal. And they all have an ephemera package. It's a little pouch that's been embossed and then debossed. It has the same title on the front. It's stitched, and inside, I just pop that down upside down. I can go through these and keep them the same way up. So they all have one of the photo books that we made in the tutorial, and there's just a very plain tag in the front and back pocket of those. They all have a vintage book page from a book called Birds, Nests and Eggs. Birds, Nests and Eggs. They all have the two large tags from my Vintage Aviary kit. They all have two tags that are made, they're cut from, I had an old, I picked it up from an antique shop, but because this one was really in poor condition, I didn't feel bad about cutting it up. The cover was coming off and the pages were all loose, but the tea cards had been glued into the collector's album. So I've cut those and turned those into tags, and I've just inked around the edge. They all have one of these little flip books with some paper and a pocket, which I did initially have one of the tags in, because obviously the journals have no tags except the front and back cover. There are 3 journaling cards from the kit. Now the images will vary in all of the packs. They all have one of the logbooks, and in the front pocket there is another vintage bird tea card. They all have an envelope from my kit, and inside is one of the pieces of writing paper. I've just printed this half size. So they all have a full set of the black and white journaling tags from my kit, and this may vary, well, this does vary in all of the journals, a small card. These were really fun. I should have filmed these because it was a bit of a process for me to get to this kind of stage. Basically I had their film slide sleeves, and what I've done is I've cut the individual slide pocket out. I've backed it and stitched some music paper onto some 300 GSM cardstock, and then I've popped a stamp into that little pocket. So they all have one of these, but the stamp is obviously different. They're all birds. There is a little T-card envelope. This is a little collage tag with some music paper and another bird stamp. They all have one of those. And then they all have one of these little tags that say bird on them. Now, all of the packs for these size journals are the same, but like I said, the T-cards, the stamps, things like that are going to vary. So there will be an image of the kind of ephemera pack out in Etsy, so you can kind of zoom in and have a look at what's there, but I've just had such a nightmare of a morning. I couldn't photograph every single bit of these journals individually, so the kit is laid out, the ephemera pack is laid out. So this one is Abundance. What I will do is show you the centre envelope and the tag that's on the inside of each one. So this one is Beloved, lots of greens and oranges, and there's the beads. The ephemera pack is going to be, like I said, the same, but some of the images may be different. This is the cover, front cover of Beloved, and this is the back. The inside papers, they're all Tim Holtz. There's that little dictionary definition. This is the collage tag and floating pocket. All the same kind of book pages, and this is the envelope that's in the centre of Beloved. So that's two. I just grab these. Oh, I'm sorry. Made you feel a bit seasick then. This one is Rapture, and obviously if you don't like the name of the journal you can quite easily stick something over the top of that, but I have tried to choose some really nice words. Blues and oranges, bit of green, some lovely turquoise and orange beads on that one. That's the ephemera pack. They're all identical. It's literally just, you know, I didn't have 10 T-cards with exactly the same image on, and they do vary slightly. So this is a Rapture, a gorgeous, gorgeous bird, and that's the back. It's very difficult to remember what I've actually said now. So that is the tag in this one, just make sure I'm in frame. Again, same kind of pages, and this is the Benningfield envelope in the centre of that one. I cannot believe that I made 10 just because I couldn't choose between the images. I just couldn't. I just didn't know what to do. Okay, so this one is Knowledge, and lots of blues and greens. I hope you can see these neutral colours as well. Some eyelash trim, so that's the pouch, and I love the colours in this one. The purples, it's just gorgeous. So this is the front of Knowledge, and this is the back. The greens are inside, kind of matching. I've tried to match all of the colours as much as I can. They work together beautifully. This is the little collage tag, and this is the Benningfield envelope in the centre of this one. I'm standing up because I am literally watching the screen on this one. On this video, not taking any chances. This one is Contentment, and the tassels, lots of oranges and greens in this one. So this is the front and this is the back. So that's the collage tag. I hope you can see these okay. I've had to play around with my camera setup a little bit to get those longer journals in. Love this envelope. I think that's my favourite centre envelope. There is only one cover that's a little bit different, and that's obviously the last one I'm going to show you. So that one is Contentment. And this is the final of the 6, and this one is Dignity. I love this bird. So got a bit of pinks and blues, some yellows in there. This is the only one that's slightly different. This is the only one with trim on the inside. And there is trim on the inside because, being the Muppet that I am, I forgot to stitch along the top of the pocket before I sewed it in. And I just thought it looked a bit too plain. So I've added some trim to this one. This is the collaged tag and floating pocket. Again, all very similar pages. And that is the Benningfield envelope in the centre. So again, trim along the back there. Did I give you a good look at the cover for this one? There we go. I'm really not looking forward to listing these on Etsy because I'm just 10 of them. Okay, so now we're on to the larger journals. I'm just going to have a little shift around and make sure I'm in frame. Okay, so this one is Imagination. The tassel, they all have the same kind of beads on. One of the threads have 3 groups of 2 and the other string has 2 groups of 2, and I've tried to coordinate the colours to match the journals, but on these particular ones I just wanted them to be bright because the colours are very plain. I'm going to show you what's in the ephemera pack because they're different to the other journals. So I don't know, I'm going to have to move this around. This is the front of Imagination, and this one the book pages do go over to the back, so that's the back. Okay, the closures are all seam binding that have been tea stained with some glimmer spray. I can't remember what it was called, the glimmer spray. So when I originally, the first video I done, all of these were filled. The journal was filled with the ephemera. I only took it out as I was going through to put into the pouches because for some reason I decided a pouch was the best way to do this, because they were supposed to be just for writing. So in each of the front and the back pocket of these larger ones, they both have one of these ginormous tags with loads of journaling space, and they just have a really small collage at the bottom with some text. Bird related, they either say things like bird nest or bird cage or bird song. They all have, the front and back are both different. They have 4 pockets sewn into the front and back cover. These have lots of fold out pages, the larger ones. So I will only go through one of them. I think I'm in frame. It was so difficult to get this whole thing in. Now some of the pages, there's only a couple, I think 2 or 3 maybe, that have they tore, because they were A3 pages, they tore as I took them out of the tea bath. Now I could have just cut that off and not told you, but I just wanted this extra journaling space. Now I really like it, so I've left it in. I hope you do too. Vintage book page, some of this vintage, it's kind of like a graph paper. It was an accounts book. It's super old, but the paper was in really good condition. It's really good quality. So in the centre, these both have, all 4 of these have a similar floating pocket, but they're much longer on here, on these journals. That's the tag on this one, and I've put them next to the centre envelope. Now the centre envelope in these 4 journals come from the original book. They are book page, but not the Benningfield, so these come from the same book as the cover. So, oh, I was going to show you all the way through this one just because it's the first one. So there's another double fold out there. The other side of the book pages. So this is another one. I could have cut it and just had it as a single page, but I've left that. I really like it. I mean, I could, or you could, if you wanted to put some washi on that. But if you're using it to stick a photo in or something like that, then you can always kind of cover that up. But like I said, I didn't want to cut it up. I wanted to use as much of the paper space as I possibly could. So these are slightly different. I'm going to just pop it there upside down again so I can keep these in order. Again, they all have one of the photo books in. They all have a book page from Bird Nests and Eggs. They all have the set of, I think there's 6, 2 big ones and 4 small ones of the vintage Aviary kit. These only have one of the T-card tags. I finally made the logbook out of the stationery kit. So there is a little logbook, and it just says the date, weather, temperature, watching location, time, common name, observations and behaviour, and sketches. And I thought, if you're not a bird watcher, this might be quite nice to maybe take to the pub and fill out for people. Instead, do a bit of people watching if you're not much of a bird watcher. I just thought that would be quite fun. I mean, we all do it anyway, don't we? And inside the back is one of the envelopes, but I've left that open so you could use it for journaling. And I've just tucked that on the back of each of those. This was one of the little, it's got the note paper and there's a pocket there. So they all have one of those with one of the journaling tags from my kit on the front cover. They all have one of these, which is a little double kind of folder, and inside there are, this is because there's only one of the T card tags. So they have a vintage bird T card and a tiny little tag in each side. And again, they're all going to be different. They all have one of the envelopes and one sheet of the writing paper. And same as the other kit, they have 3 of the tags. Now some of them are just printed onto photo quality heavyweight photo paper, sorry. Some of them are printed onto a lighter weight photo paper, and then they are backed. And there's a mix, so I couldn't tell you which ones have which in. So this is the set of the 4 smaller tags, and they are black and white images, but they are so cute. And they have a black and white tag, which are not in the kit. I made those just for these journals. They all have one of the cards with the little pocket and the stamp. And they have the T-card envelope, they have a little collage stamp tag, and they have the little bird label I'm calling it a label. So that is what these have in them, and the same as the other journals, they're all similar, but the images may vary. This is, I love this one, serendipity, one of my favourite words. I love that word. I'm just looking for the beads. So these are the beads, lots of pink and blues and reds. This one's probably more, I don't know, it's a bit of a good mix of pinks and blues. So this is the pouch for serendipity. This is the cover. This is the back. And this has the red and white striped. Again, it has the 2 large tags front and back and the 4 pockets. And this is the collage tag. And that's the book page envelope in the centre. I just love them. This is such an awesome shape and size. I really love it. So that's number 2. Number 3 is admiration. There's your beads. Again, pinks and blues, nice and bright because the cover is fairly plain. So that's obviously the same, the pouch. Make sure I'm still in frame. Have I told you in this take about this? It's seam binding, that's tea stained, and it has some sparkly glimmer spray. So that's the front and that's the back. I feel like I've been filming this video for a week. It really does feel like it's been videoing for a week. Again, large tag front and back, and the 4 sewn pockets. And this is the collage tag and the book page envelope. So this one is admiration. And last but not least, I mean, everything was together. Everything was, they were all set up like journals. I just didn't have the energy to put them back together, and I thought, well, this is how they're coming, so this is probably a good way to show you. So that's the beads, again, lots of oranges and pinks, and I love this. I keep wanting to call it coconut yarn, but it's not, it's banana yarn. I don't know if you can see it. So beautiful. So this one is Exuberance. So this is the front, and this is the back. This has the blue stripes and again the 2 large tags. That's the collage tag and floating pocket, and that's the book page envelope. Oh, I do hope this is all in shot. Like I said, I'm standing up and I'm looking at the camera more than I'm looking at what I'm doing, because 3 times is enough for this video. It's just like a Stephen King movie, birds are everywhere. So that is the 10 journals. I'm not going to photograph everything individually, like I said. If you want to see anything in more detail and you can't see it on the Etsy listing, then please, you know, by all means contact me and I can photograph anything in particular if you'd like. But I think the covers, the tags, the sewn tag and the envelope that's inside are probably the most important thing, and which papers are on the inside. So like I said, the book pages will vary, the tea cards will vary. Now, I can't remember, again, if it's this video, I've said this in, but I just want to say a massive, massive thank you to all of you for subscribing. 5,000 is just